What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, in today's Entitled Parents video, I've got a couple of mental stories for you, starting off with this one, in which a random guy, an innocent guy, and his brother go out to eat at a restaurant. However, an entitled Karen makes it her mission to ruin his day. Despite it being absolutely none of her business, she ends up threatening to call the police on this dude for being too skinny. Entitled parent calls the cops because I'm too skinny. So for some background, I'm a 16-year-old male and I have a high metabolism. Now for everything I eat, I really don't gain that much weight. So I'm pretty skinny, 107 pounds. Now for those of you like me that don't work in pounds, that is under 50 kilograms, about 48.5 kilograms. So yeah, that is pretty light. This happened about 2 days ago. I live in a big city and my family and I don't go out to eat often because of COVID. But since everything is starting to calm down, we decided to go out and eat. As we were ordering, I see a lady with a Karen haircut. I joked to my brother, who's 19 years old, and we had a good old laugh. Little did we know though, it was actually a Karen. Enter the entitlements. What do you mean you're out of chicken? One of the staff members dealing with this Karen said, "I'm sorry, Mom, the delivery hasn't come in yet." "I don't care. I deserve this chicken right now. Give it to me or I'll call your manager and get you fired." Again, "Sorry, Mom, the delivery will be here in 3 to 4 hours. I really can't control that." The entitled parent, still fuming, went off to the side and we ordered. I order, and that's when the entitled mum went off on me. "What the F, kid? Why are you so skinny? Do you ever eat?" I eat a lot, but I have a high metabolism, Mom." "I don't care. You need to eat more and gain weight." I don't care. Again, I eat a lot. I just don't gain that much weight." My brother then intervenes. "Mom, leave my brother alone. He's telling the truth." "Who the F do you think you are, talking to me like that?" "I think I'm myself telling you to leave my brother alone." "Oh yeah? Well, shut your freaking mouth, you dog. I'm calling the cops on you and your parents for starving this young boy." 50 minutes later, the cops arrived and asked what had happened. They took the entitled parent off to the side first, and she claimed that my brother tried to assault her and that he kidnapped me and was starving me. Then they took my side of the story, and I said that she's an old crazy bat because I was here with my brother and we're just trying to get some food to bring home for my family. I then explained my high metabolism and that my brother didn't even attempt to assault her, and that if they wanted to check, they could ask the worker or just check the camera. So they asked the worker and checked the cameras. When they told the entitled parent that there wasn't a problem, she went ballistic. She actually ended up kicking one of the officers in the privates. She got arrested for assault of an officer, and we pressed charges for harassment. We're still waiting for the court dates. I mean, seriously, lady, I know 48.5 kilograms or 107 pounds, that is genuinely very light for a 16-year-old boy. There's no getting away from that. But still, some people do just have crazy high metabolisms, and some people just like being skinny. Like, who knows? The guy might have been a runner, might have been crazy into his fitness. He's not necessarily malnourished just because he's lighter than you might think a typical 16-year-old boy would be. Also, it's just none of your business at all, really. I mean, you've gone to enjoy a meal. You sit there, enjoy your meal, let OP and his brother enjoy theirs. Everyone's good. If you really care that much, you can have a look at their table and see how much OP's eating, but it's none of your business. Again, leave it alone. Now moving on to our next story. This one is taken from r/entitled people. Woman demands to know tragic backstory. This happened a couple of years back, but I still cringe when I remember it. Throughout my teens and early adulthood, I had it pretty rough. My mental health was not the greatest, and as a result of bad coping strategies, I have severe scarring throughout my body, most noticeably on my left arm. Due to the extent of the damage, literally hundreds of keloids, most people assume I was in an accident and have the good sense to avoid the topic. It's no secret to my friends, but it's not exactly something I'd like to discuss with strangers. And by the way, those of you that may not know, I didn't either. Keloids are a type of raised scar. They occur where the skin is healed after an injury. Okay, so that makes sense. Probably quite a noticeable, ailment, I guess. A good friend of mine wanted to go shopping for clothes and asked me to tag along to keep her company. I think we were both in our early 20s at the time, and I still had severe social anxiety. We were having a good time, but while she was in the changing room, I wandered off by myself to browse. A little kid comes up to me and asks what happened to my arm. Now, kids are curious, that's fine, but I'm not able to disclose the truth though, as I feel it's A, highly inappropriate, and B, quite uncomfortable. So I tell him I'm not really comfortable saying, and immediately start rifling through shirts to appear busy. The kid goes away and comes back, teary-eyed, with mum in tow. She demands I explain to her child exactly what happened to my arm, as they are curious. The following conversation takes place. No, mum, I don't really feel comfortable talking about it. Please respect that. But my kid wants to know. That's all well and good, but I'm entitled to my privacy. What I understand is you're a rude, selfish little... What followed was a veritable verbal battering as the woman got increasingly agitated and took turns calling me impolite and demanding answers. It escalated to her grabbing my arm and telling her kid to touch it as much as they wanted. At that point, I, already on the verge of a panic attack, started to freak out. I practically screamed at her. It doesn't matter whether I was a lion tamer or kidnapped by pirates. You don't get to know my life story just because you want to. My friend came back about then, having heard the commotion. She is a petite, soft-spoken creature, and I can count on one hand the number of times I've heard her raise her voice in the 30+ years we've known each other, and I still have fingers left. She descended on these two like an avenging Valkyrie, and with language that would make a sailor blush, gave such a thorough verbal lashing, the lady was rendered momentarily speechless. We took the opportunity to leave and could hear her shouting about rude kids on the way out. I was a bit shaken up at the time, but to this day, we laugh about how bad of a lion tamer I must be. I hope for the kids' sake, their mum learned some chill though. Although that story didn't really involve much harm or violence or anything of that sort of ilk, it did involve one of the most entitled people that I can remember in my recent time of reading out stories. Genuinely, to go up to somebody and say, what happened to your arm? Them to say, you know what, I don't really want to tell you, I'm not really comfortable telling that sort of stuff to strangers. I kind of keep that between me and my family and my friends. And then to say, no, I don't care, tell me. That's another level of entitlement. Genuinely, just thinking about that. That is mental. And then trying to, go off and say, oh, these kids these days are so rude, not telling me what serious thing happened to them that's the reason they've got loads of scars on their body. Like, what are you on about? What sort of example are you setting to your kid? That is a madness. Seriously, that is a crazy, crazy story. And now moving on to our final story of today's episode. Why would she work here if she's just going to act disabled? So, for some context, I have a lot of mental issues tied with anxiety and pressure. When I get too overstimulated, I start to twitch, stutter, say intrusive thoughts out loud, hum and shake. At the time of this story, I was working at a popular fast food place. Before I had started working, I informed my boss and my managers I'd be working with about this, and got permission to listen to music during work since I worked the fry station. The orders on the fry station came up on a little screen, and I didn't really have to communicate with anyone as long as I was fast enough to get the orders through before they needed to ask. Normally, I would work with a pair of Bluetooth earbuds in, just loud enough to barely hear what was going on, just in case I'd have to listen. However, these two girls I worked near would loudly talk about me, assuming that I couldn't hear. It was the normal stuff that I usually heard at work. Why does she get to listen to music and we don't? She must be their favorites, etc. Classic female dog stuff. One day, however, I realized that I'd accidentally left my earbuds at home. My manager that day was really sweet, but we were short-staffed, and I didn't want to ask to go home and grab them. I also didn't have the guts to ask anyone if they had some I could borrow. So I decided to toughen it up and work my shift without them. Being in the kitchen without music was loud, and the two girls gossiping really didn't help. I started to shake and hum already. However, since this was the first time they'd ever really gotten to talk to me during work, they jumped at the opportunity. We had a conversation that went something like this. The first female dog said to me, "Hey, OP, can I ask a personal question?" Shoots. "What makes you so special that you can listen to music on earbuds, but we can't even play it out loud on our phones?" I do fries and don't like talking. You don't do fries and do like talking. Then the second dog got involved. "Are you saying we talk too much?" "No, I'm saying I don't like talking and I don't have to talk to you to do my job." "I just think it's funny how you get to D-sucking female dog." "Excuse me? What did you just call her?" Our manager then walks in and she's heard the last bit at this point. Don't mind her, she can't help it. But she's never done this before. Look at her. She's acting like this to get out of work early since she doesn't have her special needs music today. Guys, that's really uncalled for. I just say wet paint. We just want to know why she would work here if she's just gonna act disabled. I'm a college student on my own. I need a job to get wet paint food. Then the second female dog asked me, are you just, insert R word here, why don't you go on disability or something? At this point, my manager gets really mad and yells at them to stop. I'm breathing really heavy and I'm on the verge of a panic attack. So she takes me to the freezer in the back and hands me a bag of liquid ice cream to squish. We've previously talked about how I enjoy the weird bag feeling and thought they were fun to hold. She also has a brother with similar problems to mine and knows that sensory stimulation is helpful to some. I don't know why squish squish ice cream bag is funny, but it is. She leaves and comes back a few minutes later and tells me that I can clock out for the night and not to worry about them. So I do. The next night, I come back, and the first female dog was put on a week-long suspension, and the second worker was fired as it was her final strike for causing workplace drama. I mean, once again, I have no real issue with these two girls kind of, asking the manager or asking UOP, how come you get to listen to your music whilst we don't? Because, on a job, I'd like to listen to music. And if some of my co-workers were listening to music and I wasn't allowed to, I'd probably want to know why. So that's completely fine. But surely as soon as you go to the manager and get an answer or ask OP and they give you an answer, you're like, well, okay, that makes complete sense. Fair enough. You just get on with what you're doing and I'll leave you alone. You don't go and do all this madness and start abusing them and ending up getting fired and getting suspended and that sort of stuff, which, by the way, they fully deserve for being so abusive. Surely at that point you just accept it. I don't know. I mean, put it this way. Would you rather have the issues that OP has and be able to listen to music at work, or would you not be allowed to listen to music at work but be completely fine? I mean, I'm not being that deep about it. I know which one I'd rather have. As long as OP is getting to do the work and is doing that okay and is able to deal with that even through their issues, then listening to music is a great thing. And yeah, I wouldn't substitute being completely okay and not having mental issues for having mental issues and then being allowed to listen to music, if that makes sense. OP's going through a lot right now. These two girls aren't. Let her be, surely. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/EntitledParents or r/EntitledPeople. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want more like this, got a couple of videos on screen for you to check out. This one is really good. This one's terrible, actually. You know what? I don't know why I put this one on screen. It's actually really bad. It's probably one of my worst ever videos. Don't click that one. Definitely click this one. If you are new to the channel, hit this button as well and turn notifications on so you get notified every day when I post. Isn't that amazing? It's almost like a miracle. Click the button. See you tomorrow. Bye.